another interesting conversation as we continue with entrepreneurship for the week. So the theme is now focused on all things AI and blockchain. Now, South Africa needs economic empowerment, and one of the most effective ways to do that is by educating and exposing South Africans to what first world countries like the US are doing successfully. One person who's done some great work in bringing back some of that knowledge, particularly in the area of artificial intelligence, is Tumelo Ramaphosa, who's the founder of StudEX. Tumelo, many thanks for your time this evening.
Good evening.
Let's start with the fact that AI and blockchain fast becoming an integral part of everything that we do, not only globally, but it's growing in Africa as well. How do we use it to change the lives of entrepreneurs? Because I think that's a very important thing given the current situation in South Africa.
Firstly, both areas are fast growing and developing throughout the world. And with the use of the internet, it kind of bridges the gap between the international and the international world and local. So both artificial intelligence and blockchain, there's a very unique marriage that they have together. I mean, from used as security, you can use artificial intelligence to secure a cryptocurrency exchange. Banks can also use them to authenticate transactions, to look out for fraud. And then with blockchain is the security that artificial intelligence doesn't have. So they work back to back. I mean, it's a marriage between the two technologies.
But I mean, I'm very interested to know how an entrepreneur could use this kind of technology to their advantage. You know, a lot of entrepreneurs don't have access to capital for bricks and mortar when building businesses and things like that. So how do they use this in particular to grow any kind of business, I guess?
Look, I'm based in San Francisco, and so it's a kind of international hub for entrepreneurs, and it kind of bridges those gaps, as you're saying. So not having access to funding. So the idea of San Francisco is that they invest in venture capital finance of very creative businesses and of startups. So it kind of enables startups to create prototypes and minimal viable products that they can now sell to investors, and investors can invest in them. And then from doing that, now they can get into the space and sell their product. And it's a long journey, but these are some of the ways that not even just in San Francisco but around the world, startups, the whole idea of a tech startup and raising finance is something that's growing, because there's a lot of creative things that come out of it, like Facebook, Google.
I mean, I'm glad you bring up things like venture capital and things like that, because one area of a challenge here in South Africa in particular is getting the funding to get a tech startup going and the likes of that. But I'm keen to know, based on your travels and being based in San Francisco and traveling back and forth, how far do you think South Africa has come? Do you think we're doing a little bit better in developing tech startups and giving them the necessary support so that we can compete with the likes of the US?
Absolutely. Look, I mean, there's only 5 VC funds or venture capital funds in South Africa. But that's nothing in comparison to the 1,600 in the United States and the 800 alone in San Francisco. But as I said, the internet helps us bridge those gaps, right? So it helps us get access to these various different people. We host the event Unlocking Blockchain Africa, and right now our third event is focused at artificial intelligence and blockchain within the retail space. So that alone is our third conference, and what we've done is that coming from World Cryptocurrency Economic Forum last year in San Francisco, hosting our first conference last year at Santa Convention Center, where we had the founder of Ethereum, Charles Hoskinson, the first CEO. So that alone as a platform, with also one of the founding directors of Binance, it was a platform where entrepreneurs could come and they could present their different solutions and talk to different founders and investors of the cryptocurrency and blockchain and artificial intelligence industry. So that gave them access to the international world. And the platform as well itself, that's essentially what it was a linkage with Africa and the rest of the world. And by having this platform now, we have people the likes of Charles Hoskinson. We also have the founder of Ribbit Capital, their $2 billion fund in San Francisco, who are also one of the speakers at the event. So by having that platform, we actually enable to empower and emancipate African entrepreneurs to get those opportunities to speak to these guys, to get access to funding. And yeah, that's how we try and bridge those gaps.
Brilliant. I wish we had a little bit more time because I had a couple more questions I wanted to sneak in. But Tumelo, many thanks for your time this evening. I've been speaking there to Tumelo Ramaphosa, who is the founder of StudEX. With that, let's take